Welcome back to our glorious Carling restoration campaign. Today I think we're going to carry out our naval invasion of England. We currently have a truce with them for a year, and we're close to being able to fabricate a CB. We'll likely just fabricate a destroy rival CB. Outside of that, we're likely just going to centralize the HRE at this point. We just need around 10 or so imperial authority, and then we can revoke the privilege. We'll see how that goes. We're of course continuing to integrate all of our vassals as fast as possible so that we can potentially form France. I did want to conquer Provence, but we still for some reason have the can't declare war because the Holy Roman Empire is at peace, even though it's been at least a decade since I enforced peace. So it should have expired, but what you gonna do? If they want peace, who am I to say otherwise? We're gonna go on a bit of a diplomatic offensive. Since we're going to centralize the HRE, there's a good chance that a lot of people are going to be very angry at that, and they may even revolt or just leave the HRE, which isn't a colossal deal because we could just annex them. If they do leave the HRE, we gain cores on their land. So honestly, it's kind of fine if they do leave because we could just, annex them. But at the same time, I'd like to have as many people as possible part of the glorious HRE vassal swarm that is likely to form. Unfortunately, there are some people who really hate us, like Savoy here. Apparently we dishonored an alliance with them. Oh, probably because we refused helping them in some of the wars with France in the past. That's probably why. So we're unlikely to get them to be happy with us. But that's kind of good in a way. Actually, thinking about it, maybe we want countries that are in France to refuse to join, because then we can declare war on them for our cause. So if countries like Savoy and Provence refuse to acknowledge our domination, that would actually be great, because then we could just declare war on them with our cores and take their land, helping us become France faster. But I think we'll try and discourage them from submitting. We'll throw an insult towards Provence to push them into the negative, and then we'll see how it goes. One of the problems is we have the Emperor's Pass laws favouring the Emperor, which is doing a lot of the work to decrease our relations with everybody. We'll see if we can't correct that view that these people have. We've reached the point where we could centralize the HRE now. It's unfortunate we can't just spend imperial authority to make people like us, like we could back in EU4. Is there any law we could pass that would make people happy? Unfortunately not. We could force imperial peace, which would stop all internal wars. This wouldn't make people happy there. So there's not much benefit to doing that. I think we're going to hold off for a few months until we're in a better position opinion-wise. It'd be nice if there was some way that I could look at opinion better. I mean, this is pretty good. We can see that Austria doesn't like us at all. We've also got a few nations around who don't like us. We can sort known countries by ones that don't like us. Unfortunately, we can't confine it to a certain location. So we can see all of the countries in the world that hate us. The Ottomans hating us isn't really something we're concerned with. Oh, it looks like we've got an event to take the English throne. This is likely a Dutch event. Funnily enough, I don't think we're going to do it, mainly because we kind of want to conquer England and balkanize it. I don't really want to take the English crown. Nice to know though. Aha, our son, Gustav Wilhelm, has come of age. He's pretty good. 90, 69, 74. Not as good as his old dad, obviously, but he'll do. We'll have him join a chivalric order. We probably want one that boosts his mill instead of one that boosts his admin, because he's only 10 off having max admin, so it'd be a waste. Joining the orders increase your stat by 15, so we'll have him join the Order of the Lion, and then he can marry somebody. Doesn't really matter who. Hopefully he doesn't just die, but if he does, we do have a potential other successor in our... we have 3 sons actually. Our second son, Joran, and then Rugier, our third son. Our CB against England is online. I'm not sure whether I want to attack now or whether I should focus on continuing to bring people in the HRE into line. Of course, I can do both, right? Problem is, if we take land from England, it'll rack up antagonism. But then we're not really in a rush, right? Maybe what we're going... Let's do this. We're going to enforce internal peace in the Empire permanently. Then we should be free to do as we like going forward. It won't really matter if people are unhappy with us. People won't be able to rebel or attack each other or anything. So we can let the unhappiness from us passing laws that upset people within the HRE just decay on its own. So let's attack England. We actually have a larger navy than them at the moment. We'll see how it goes. They do have 100,000 men. What I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to send our very small army across to fight them. Instead, we're going to call up a big mercenary army. Although, how many people can I fit on a ship? 200 men per ship. I think we only have the very early version of the transport. So 200 men per ship. We have 34 ships. We can only transport around 6,000 men across. So we definitely can't transport the big armies I would hope for. One of the things we could do is get across, occupy somewhere, and then hire mercenaries there. Maybe we'll try that. Feels like it might go poorly, but it also sounds kind of fun. Let's see, where's a good point to land? There's castles around Dover, so I'd prefer not to land there. Let's land here, next to Shoreham. We just need to occupy the territory. Territory occupied. Now let's hire a mercenary band. We'll hire this big Burgundian one. Or we won't. Was I mistaken? I thought you could definitely hire mercenaries in occupied territory. Maybe not. Oh, is it because of the location? I think it has to be a town or city to hire mercs in. Let's change our point of view a little. We're here. The Isle of Wight is a town. Can you walk from the Isle of Wight to the rest of England? Perhaps. Exeter's also a good spot though. Oh well, Dover's a good spot. It's a town. It's right next to a city as well. So if Dover doesn't work out, we can just nip over to Canterbury. So let's pull back onto our ships, move over to the strait, land in Dover, occupy the location. Just in case, we're going to immediately move on to Canterbury, try and occupy that. But it looks like we still can't hire mercenaries there. I guess I'm just wrong. I definitely thought you could hire mercenaries in occupied territory. I guess not. How foolish. We'll pull back, since our transport fleet isn't big enough for us to transport over the hundreds of mercenaries that we could. Feels like a bit of a waste of time to even attempt it. Sweden actually joined the war, which is kind of funny because we are in a marriage union with them. Luckily it didn't break the marriage union though. Oh yeah, let's start paying people to join the war, just so they can go off and beat up Sweden and get them out of the conflict. We'll pay Poland. There's nobody with a big navy though who could really help. Ah well, looks like the English navy actually got annihilated, so they're not going to be able to transport their armies over. So I guess we'll have to go to them. There we go, internal war has been outlawed within the empire. Peace will reign permanently now. It's too bad that reducing my progress on imperial forms doesn't increase relations. I feel like taking steps back probably should increase people's opinions and happiness. I think I found the best way to increase relationships with the HRE members. It's not a good way though. I can go around and hover over each flag of the 200 members and see the ones that don't like me and start improving relations with them. As I said, I don't think this is the best method, but it's the best one I think that's available to me. Right, Lüneburg, you're a little bigger than you have any real right to be. We're going to dismember you a little. Pity we can't release the big nation that you've occupied at the same time. Hypothetically, we could not give independence to the small nations and just release the big one, but I'd rather release the small nations, especially since they'll be able to become free cities. Maybe at this point, though, I shouldn't really care about free cities. Oh well, though. We're going to release them anyway. Always nice to bring back small nations into existence, and they tend to like us for liberating them, which is useful in the long run. Württemberg has had enough. We're going to release lots of nations from them as well. They also have a vassal. We'll release them too. Freedom for everybody. Unfortunately, our allies have begun landing in England, which isn't really a good thing because they'll be too small and weak to really fight the English. They'll probably just get stack wiped, which will give the English the ticking war score. At least Sweden's had enough. We'll piece them out. We couldn't really get to them, so it's better they just leave the war. If it's just England, they're not actually very strong, just 100,000 men. Problem is, of course, getting to them. It's too bad we can't hire a mercenary navy. Or can we? We can. I've never actually done this because the thought never occurred to me. But let's hire a mercenary navy. We want these good ships that can actually load a lot of population onto them. So we'll hire a mercenary navy. Also, it looks like the transport capacity for my navy is higher than I thought it was. Was I looking at the wrong number? I don't think I could have been. But yeah, whatever. It's one of those days, I guess, where I'm looking at the numbers and they're just not lining up. We'll hire a big mercenary army, like we were planning to. We'll hire this Burgundian one. Although, wait a minute. We want them to max their time. We don't want any camp followers. If they die, they die. Hire them here. Load up. Fight the English Navy in the chat. Beat them. There's 20,000 men on the other side. These are all... No, there are a few not levies. It's mainly levies, though. Let's not try and fight them there, though. Let's sail around the coast a little bit. Maybe we'll land in Cornwall to pull them away, potentially. Although it's forted up there. Let's land in Exeter, I think. We'll see if the English don't come over and try and fight us. It'll be annoying to lose battles because it will cost war score. But in the long run, if we can whittle them down, we'll end up winning. Let's actually hire another army. Give these mercenaries a chance to really earn their pay. Another 20,000 men should be enough. Or at the very least, will help out. They are going to attack us. They do think they can beat us. Even with their full levy army. I'm not sure I agree, honestly. Let's see. Well, they had reinforcements. Yes, that's a loss for us. Maybe, actually, let's go land in Ireland. That's what everyone else seems to be doing. Let's go land there and conquer Ireland. The Pale will help us rack up the war score and act as a good landing point for any potential landings of mainland England. Go grab those other mercenaries we hired. As discussed, though, our allies are landing in England, but they're too small and weak to pose much of a threat to the English. The English will just clean them up. While we're doing this, don't let me forget to go and increase relations with the HRE members. These guys don't like us. These guys don't like... I'm not sure what will happen with free cities because they're already our vassals. So I'm not sure whether they'll even have the option of leaving the Empire. I'm going to assume they do, though, so we do need to increase relationships with them. Right, let's blanket siege Ireland. There's no troops here. The Pale's had its whole army crushed, so we're free to just occupy the place as we will. The English, ironically, aren't that resistant to making peace with us. If we could rack up 20 or 10 or so war score, we might be able to push them out. Since there's no fort in their capital, just occupying it might be enough to dissuade them. Right, we've full occupied Ireland nearly. We've racked up quite a bit of war score with the English from our occupations. How willing are they now? 15. I think a strategic strike on their capital might be enough to push them towards surrender. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see if we can't occupy their glorious capital. And there we go. I am good demanding quite a bit. Really, we don't need to demand all of this. Maybe I should just take a few steps down. I did want to take all of the southern coast. We'll see if we can't force them to accept this. We just need 4 more war score. Surely not a big ask. Although we're right next to where their main army. Problem is, because of the fort in Norwich, we can't really occupy their capital because the fort will just retake it. They're going to attack us. It says we're going to win, though. This army does have regulars in. Let's see how it goes. If we lose this, we might just make peace and take what we've got. We won. They are following up with another army, though. We won that too. That we're very weak now. We took a lot of casualties, but they are mercenaries. We don't care about them. And of course, we are thinning the English numbers. Them taking casualties is something unsustainable. Whereas us taking casualties, you know, they're mercenaries, so we don't particularly care. Looks like they don't have the stomach to fight us anymore. They're retreating. We make peace. We're close. We're on 3. Just 3 points. And they'll surrender. As discussed, though, we can't really move off this. I guess we could just head to Norwich and start occupying it. We're probably not going to be able to take it anytime soon, but it will cause the rest of the capital, well, unless they bring over an army and liberate it. Maybe we should just make peace now. I guess they can keep Hampshire. Could we take Somerset? We could. We don't need to... Well, actually, we kind of do need an unbroken line because of how we're going... Well, I'm not sure. Let's take Surrey and Somerset instead of taking Hampshire. And there we go. Peace reigns. This war wasn't particularly glorious, but the goal was really just to get control of the southern coast, because now we'll have a landing zone that we can potentially cross over on. Now I just need to add a bunch of locations to the HRE so that we can spread the HRE over the coast. There we go, we've managed to get to Dover. Now we'll spread it around all of these locations. One thing I haven't been doing that's been a mistake is I haven't been releasing land as HRE members. I've just noticed that a lot of the land I have, well, all the land I have in Spain isn't actually part of the HRE because I forgot to force the locations to join before I released the territory. So we're going to make sure that we correct that now. It doesn't need to be every single province that we add to the HRE, but we need to make sure the capitals, at the very least, of these territories are added to the HRE because that will affect the new nation we spawn there being part of the HRE. So there we go. The HRE is spread to the southern coast of England. We'll release our glorious friend and eternal ally, Cornwall, back into the world. They can be a vassal. And then we'll create a bunch of miscellaneous custom subjects in the rest of the territory. They can all be vassals. There we go. England has taken its first step to becoming a truly enlightened part of the world. Did we rack up a lot of antagonism for that war? I mean, we racked up antagonism with England, but did anyone else care? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't like there was any antagonism gained. What about with these guys who are rather close to England? Nope, none at all. It doesn't look like they care at all. That's good. I like it when people don't care about my behaviour. I am going to start expanding our standing army because a lot of our vassals are unloyal because of how big their army of the vassals is to us. If we look at these guys, for example, they have minus 100 because of the difference in strength. We're going to need to expand our army quite a lot so that we can match these guys. We're not going to go crazy though because it feels like it's unlikely we're going to do much fighting with our actual army. It's mainly just going to be for, peacekeeping purposes. We don't particularly care, or we don't plan to really use our army to fight, but it's just its existence is needed to keep everybody in line. That's the purpose of which we're going to make it, to keep everyone in line. It'd be nice if I could filter for countries that are part of the HRE or other organizations when I look at this stuff. There's definitely room for quite a lot of quality of life improvements in EU5. Oh god, a hunting accident killed Gustav Wilhelm. Now the throne is going to his daughter, Agnes Carling. We don't really want that. Might be time for us to switch over to favoured son succession law. Yeah, I think it's time. We've held out for as long as we could, but now we've had to change our succession law. We need to tell old Denmark that they also need to change their succession law. And there we go. Everything is as it should be. We're going to be losing money for a bit. We're going to be losing money for a bit though because we need to get our legitimacy back up, but honestly we have nearly 100,000 ducats. Let's continue our improving relationship expansion. Ooh, well there's something great. Genoa is being attacked by Castile again. Still not sure why Castile thinks they can. We'll join, which will count as defending the empire, which will make everyone like us. Thank you, Castile. Although we were pretty close to everybody being happy already. But look at that green. Everything's green now. I think we're actually in the position to centralize the empire now. The only people that aren't green are people that we don't really want to be green. In fact, Provence, you're too green. It doesn't like we're going to be able to push them to becoming unhappy though. I haven't been improving relations, but the time we spent improving relations in the past looks like it was enough for them to stay in the green. Right, so I think it's time. Let's not waste time. Let us centralize the HRE. One thing I haven't thought about is when we change the law to centralize the HRE, people are going to lose relationship. Will that happen before or after they decide whether to submit? I suppose we'll find out, right? It might be a mistake to do it while we're in the middle of a war with Castile, but I mean, we're not the war leader. I think we won't do anything. We'll just leave it all to the vassals. Not my problem, right? Ah, look at that. The religious war has begun, but I'm not sure it's going to even happen because we're about to revoke the privilege. Maybe it will just end. I suppose let's see. Let's let the leagues form. I don't even think we can even attack. I mean, we are allied with Bohemia, but the empire has peace. Religious leagues can't even do a thing. I wonder if the Protestant Religious League dissolves, does the war end, or does it pass to someone outside of the empire who's Protestant? Or maybe they'll just leave. That's also a possibility. But I suppose we're going to find out. It's always exciting to see how these things work, and if in fact they do work. The only person opposing the empire centralization is this tiny republic here. What's their problem? I suppose they are a vassal of... Yeah, they're those guys who are a vassal of the guys outside the HRE, so that might have something to do with it, right? The privilege has been officially revoked. In the year of our Lord, 1596, the most supreme Augustus, Holy Roman Emperor Francis V Carling, Romanorum Imperator, crowned by God, has again convened the Estates of the Holy Roman Empire. The Imperial Diet has agreed to a motion to centralize foreign policy and warfare by having all member states submit to direct vassalization under the Holy Roman Emperor. Demand oaths of loyalty. All members of the Holy Roman Empire must swear an oath of loyalty or leave the empire. All owned states of refusing members that are part of the Holy Roman Empire will leave and will become cause of the Netherlands. So let's see, revoke that privilege. Did anybody leave? I suppose I'd be able to see if I had cause. I'm not really seeing it. I think somebody left up here. Well, no, they're a part of Denmark. Maybe no one left. Well, no, actually. It looks like we did have a few leavers. Yeah, these guys aren't part of the HR anymore. Do we have cores on them? Yes, we can see that we have a core on them. If we switch on over to the integration map mode, we can actually see the cores that we have from people leaving. Real question I have is, how long are these cores going to last? Because cores normally fade away if they're not the correct population as the core nation. I'm also not seeing these guys becoming my vassals. They don't look like they're my vassals. They definitely look all independent. How strange. Maybe it just means become my vassals like in a spiritual sense, like if we declare war on anybody, does it pull in all the member states? It doesn't. How strange. I wonder, is that working as intended? Maybe there's something else we need to do. We're definitely at revoke the privilege. The only other option is to integrate the empire into a single state. I wonder if because we're at war it broke something, or if maybe it's because the League wars have started. That might have broken something as well. Or is it something we need to say to make them a vassal? I'm not seeing an imperial action. Nope, doesn't look like there's one. How disappointing. I guess it must be bugged or broken, or probably the situation we're in has caused it to not work. I suppose it's not the end of the world. At the very least, they can't continue attacking each other within the HRE because we've enforced peace. And we could just go down and unify the nation now. But I wanted my vassal swarm. I've been cheated out of a vassal swarm. Is there a worse feeling? Oh well, I guess let's start building spy networks on the people who left so that we can take their land. Or should I say, my land? After all, I'm the one with cores on it. Who knows, since we're still in this war and Provence was in it, maybe Genoa will give us our cores on Provence? That would be nice of them. Well, there goes that war. Looks like some land was given to us. Ironically, in Spain, though. Not exactly what I wanted. Definitely room for us to move the HRE down into Spain, though. Then we'll release a new nation there. There's no historical nations we could release. We'll just release some vassal, put somebody in charge. A problem we do have is, for example, with Savoy here, we can't attack them because they're in the Catholic League. I suppose we could leave the Catholic League. It's not really our problem, right? And there's unlikely to actually be a war, but it doesn't feel right to leave the Catholic League. We'll have to give up on potentially attacking people that are part of the Catholic League for now. Surely a few of these guys aren't part of the Catholic League, though. In fact, yes, we've got a few Protestant ones. That might be a good thing. Maybe we could just destroy the Protestant League outright by fighting them. Quite a few of these nations that have left the HRE were just vassals of other nations who were in the HRE, like Polish vassals or Austrian vassals. So it's not a big deal if they've left the HRE, because eventually they'll just get integrated by their masters. Or we'll integrate their masters and they'll become our vassals, which I guess is more likely. Unfortunately, for the League War to end, we do have to fight it, or we need to wait until the Age of Revolutions, which is going to be quite a while. I guess what we could do is we could revoke imperial peace and just go back up to no imperial peace. That might be the smart thing to do. Let's break our alliance with Bohemia, so that won't be a problem. Now, as discussed, let's start marching back upwards towards peace being not a thing. In order to end the religious league, we need to enforce religious supremacy through a religious supremacy war. It looks like we have to wait 10 years for the situation to have started before we can get the religious supremacy CB. So we're going to be waiting another 6 years from now before we can start just fighting that war. But it's not the biggest deal imaginable. All right, let's crush the Prince Bishopric of Metz. They actually decide to insult us, which is quite nice of them. They are part of the other religious league, so this is going to be a mini league war. They're also allied with Provence, so I think we're going to use the opportunity to force Provence to return the calls we have on them. Metz, of course, we also have calls on because they were a HRE member. Perfect opportunity for us to just take back all that land that is rightfully ours. I guess we could also cut Bohemia down to size as well, depending on how things go. Let's pay Poland. Ooh, Poland doesn't want to join. Or they're not eligible to join for whatever reason. I guess we'll pay Austria then. Austria can join, and let's pay Brandenburg as well. And maybe Brara. They're quite large. Poland's currently at war with Hungary for whatever reason. So that might be why they can't join our war currently. Savoy also joined, so we could dismember them as well and return all these lands that we have cause on because they are rightfully ours. Everything's just going our way suddenly. Our wife, the Queen of Sweden, has died. Unfortunately, her successor is our granddaughter. Through our son who died, we weren't able to change their succession law because we weren't in a union with them. It was just a marriage union. But at least the Karlings now rule Sweden, I guess. At least for a short time. She's likely going to lose the throne because of the fact that she'll marry somebody and they won't be a Karling. Unless we can convince her to marry one of our Karlings, but I think we're too close for us to attempt that. Oh well, it's not like we really intended to take the Swedish throne anyway, it just kind of accidentally happened. Even though it's still at war, I'm thinking of declaring war on Hungary as well. They're the overlord of one of the nations we have a claim on, and Hungary's pretty weak, so I think we're going to declare on them as well. Anyone noteworthy we could pay to join? I guess we could pay Ferrara and Austria to join again. Might as well. They're on the border, so they'll take a bit of a beating, but that's what we like. Milan, are you doing anything of note? Ooh, the HRE's empire, the Holy Roman Empire, is actually out of money to hire Milan. Looks like we spent a little too much. But that's fine, it's not my money. Although maybe I'd prefer to spend my money at this point. Nah, we'll spend the HRE's money, keep our own money for ourselves. Looks like Provence has had enough and they'll gladly return all of the land we have cause on, which happens to be their whole nation. The Voyeurs also had enough and will return the cause to their rightful master, us. How close are we to forming France? We're only 18 locations off. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to do it through this war. We are integrating Aquitaine. They're one of the big ones though, so it's going to take a while. And we're kind of running out of parts of France to take. We could start just taking land from Aquitaine and the others, but doing so would make them rather unhappy. Well, we're going to get a few locations from annexing Metz here. And there are a few of these city-states still around within France. We're free cities, but I think we might just have to wait for the full annexation of Aquitaine. Let's see. We'll beat Metz, see where we're at, and see what the situation's like. Speaking of seeing what the situation's like, turns out Pisa actually left the HRE, and now we can full annex them and reclaim that HRE land. Kind of funny how all the countries that opposed us and left the HRE kind of joined the same mega alliance, and we are of course taking them all down now. While we're still here, we're going to move another step down the internal peace path, hopefully to end internal peace permanently, at least for now. We'll of course want it back once we end the religious war. There we go, the Bohemians are sufficiently beaten. We're going to have them return and release some lands, and then some vassalizations they have. Nothing too crazy. And now we can actually finish this war. We'll have them return all the land we have cause on, which is their whole nation. And boom. How are we now forming France? We're 14 locations off. Hypothetically, we could attack Genoa for these few locations. They have, what, 1, 2, 3. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 locations up there. Let's see, how many vassals do we have? We have 1, 2. Is that it? Yeah, I think, no, 3. We have 3 free cities in France that we could just annex. That's not going to get us there, though. We need more. As I said, we could start just taking land from our vassals, but that would really upset them. We could try taking the cheapest possible land, but that would still rack up a lot of liberty desire. Their liberty desire is very low, so it might be manageable. Let's try revoking somewhere from Toulouse. Where's their cheapest location? this one. Let's just take it away and see what happens. It only knocks them down to 53. We'll need to wait for that to decay, obviously, before we can take more. But I think taking is what we'll now do. We'll also take one from Brittany. Ooh, it looks like taking land from Brittany might be a little too expensive. 200 Liberty Desire? We'll take this one. It only gives 70 Liberty Desire, which we should be able to overcome. And then from Aquitaine, we are integrating Aquitaine. So maybe we want to make sure they don't become too disloyal. We definitely don't want them to go below 50 if we can. Guess we'll take this one. It's only 44. One thing we could also do is demolish a bunch of the cities that exist in Aquitaine. It's not something I like to do though. It's very gamey to do. But the AI tends to mass build cities, as you can see. We could just knock some of these down to rural locations. It wouldn't even cost us money to do so. I think we'll do that. Just knock some of them down. Try to leave the ones that feel like the proper capital for the location. And we'll see how the numbers look after that. Now we need to turn our attention to Hungary. They are doing the usual and defying us. Since the war's been focused on the Bohemians, our vassals haven't really tried to fight Hungary. But, I mean, they have fought them, they just haven't full occupied them, which we need to extend our glory southward. But I doubt the Hungarians can pose much of a threat, just a simple matter of occupying their lands. Should be enough to bring an end to the conflict. One thing I have been doing is marrying all of the female members of our family that we can to other karlings, distant relations, just in case we end up in a disadvantageous position due to the loss of male lineage. Suppose I'm feeling a little paranoid now after being in one too many scary situations, and all of our karlings seem to have loads of daughters. Our eldest had 3 daughters. Our second has another 3 daughters. Our third son doesn't even have any children because he ran away to Sweden. And our grandson Francis, he has 2 kids, both daughters. It's daughters all the way down. They just don't stop making them. There's something wrong with the karling bloodline. Oh god, and just as I was saying that, our son dies in another hunting accident. It just keeps happening. So who's our successor now? It's gone straight to our grandson, as we would expect. For some reason, Denmark's going to leave the Union, do the modifier same religious group. I mean, he looks like he's in the same religious group to me. He's Catholic. Our third son. Maybe let's give it a month. Yeah, it went away after that. Problem is, he's over in Sweden, so we can't marry him up. I guess it's not too bad, because we have our nephew Francis, who should be... Well, actually, no. Oh yeah, our son comes second, our newly born Ernest Carling, and then Francis. So it's not like it's over or anything, it's just a little scary. And look, there's Rogier decided to show up in our country, as he should, being the rightful heir. Right, we've been able to take all of our cores from Hungary. Do we want to continue the war? I suppose we could. Nothing really stopping us. Could maybe... No, it's going to be very expensive to take land. I'm not sure it's even worth considering. Because Hungary isn't the target of the war, because the target of the war was a Hungarian vassal, it's going to be difficult to take land. I suppose we could force them to release somebody. They re-annexed Bosnia. We wouldn't be able to do that though. We'd be over the limit. We could force them to end some of their vassalizations. Doing that might be more of a nuisance to them than anything else though. We could also have them return cores of other people. Maybe let's do that. I guess we could give some land back to Serbia. This looks like it's going to be a tad expensive though. Might be able to give like 1 or 2 locations. 3, 4, 5. I think we'll call it there. Enjoy your 5 locations, Serbia. We're going home. I want to say it's time to attack Bohemia and end the religious war, but for some reason we're still considered as having a blocker. So I'm not sure why. I'm going to save. I'm going to load the save and see if that's the issue. Nope, loading the save didn't fix it. I suppose there's not much to do other than do something else while we wait and hope that it eventually decides that internal peace is over. We could go and attack England. We're currently fabricating a CB on them, and if there's anyone deserving of being attacked, it's probably England. Yep, so let's attack England. Be a good distraction for us while we... Wait a minute. What happened to Cornwall? England conquered them somehow, but they were my vassal. And a part... Maybe it was a revolt. Ooh, maybe an English revolt against them won, but it must have happened without me even being informed. Oh well, I guess. Before we declare war, let's hire a bunch of mercenaries. Around 10,000 English people. So let's hire, I don't know, there's 20,000 Burgundians, and there's about 18,000 French. Should be enough. We'll wait for them to be hired, just so they don't get jumped, and then we'll declare war. At the very least, our allies will have an easier time getting across to fight England than in the last time, since we have the landing zones controlled by our allies here. Or vassals, I should say. Goal for this war? Definitely want to liberate Cornwall. Don't like the fact that they were conquered in the first place. I'd also like to start getting into Wales, since we can release Wales and they'll fabricate claims for the rest of their cause in Wales. I may have underestimated these Englishmen. They were able to completely wipe our mercenaries. Even though they don't, well, I guess they do have quite a few regulars. Only around 15,000 though. Maybe the English are just built different. We're going to bring over our stack of 40,000 regulars, I think. Oh, and there goes our ruler. Rugier, with no children, I might add, is now our ruler. Hopefully he can do the bare minimum and have a son. There, now that's a much nicer battle. Eviscerated the English. We did lose 10,000 men, but we've only got infantry, so that plays a part. Castile has actually joined the war. That's kind of good. We'll use it as a chance to take some of the land and return it to our vassals. Oh, and speak of the devil, our ruler has a child, and of course it's a girl. Karlings have the female gene, it seems. Oh, I think our army just got stack wiped. I didn't even notice, but they were attacked by this army, who they outnumbered, but they lost and were stack wiped. Oh wait, no, this is them. That must have been the mercenaries who got stack wiped. I definitely thought it was my main army. Good to know, but they definitely took heavy casualties. Luckily we have 100,000 or so manpower. Oh look, another child's been born, another girl. What's his end game? What's his plan behind having so many female children? Now the manpower is replenished, we can just go back in. And there, this time they weren't anything close to a threat. Not sure what made them a threat that time that they won, but it is what it is. Bohemia, for whatever reason, has decided to join the war. We're still being blocked by internal peace. So I've decided we're going to go all the way up. We're going to revoke all of the imperial peace laws. Or at very least, we're going to get to the point where we can no longer enforce imperial peace via those laws. Just in the hopes that fixes things. All right, now we're going to go all the way up to the final one that no longer has the demand internal peace parliamentary issue. Surely reaching that point will remove the Holy Roman Empire does not have enforced internal peace modifier. Aragon has decided to join the war for whatever reason as well. I suppose we'll use it as an opportunity to reduce their size. Looks like Castile's had enough. I've actually noticed that our beautiful Valencia got conquered at some point. I don't know how or why. Surely I should have been informed if one of my vassals was being conquered. But it seems not. Maybe they became disloyal and were annexed in a separate piece. It could happen. Loyalty for our vassals has been fluctuating quite a bit. Can't see any now because of our army size going up and down. So that's likely what happened. We're going to return land to Leon though, first of all. Then we'll return the last few provinces that Granada has cores on to them. They've lost a lot of their cores, it looks like, because the population has changed. That being Andalusian is no longer the majority. Then, instead of retaking and releasing Aragon, we're actually going to kind of snake our way down to Aragon. The reasoning is simple. When I release Valencia, I want them to be part of the HRE this time. So getting close enough that I can add the land to the HRE before I release them is the plan. We're just going to need to do a little bit more occupying to make Castile feel that maybe the war's over. There, we've changed the law. We still can't make war. I just don't get it. Maybe because there's a truce now? I doubt it though. Maybe we should just stop caring about it and centralize the HRE. Maybe the religious war will just end if there's no one in the Protestant religious faction. I kind of did just want to win the religious war though. Oh well. Another daughter is born. Excellent. Exactly what we need. There, Castile's had enough. We'll return the Leonese lands. Is this all of Leon's land? It looks like it. So it'll be nice to see Leon at its full height. We'll take these few locations here. We'll give these ones to the vassal we already have here. We'll add all of these to the HRE and then release them as a new nation once the war ends. The Liberty Desire has decayed with Aquitaine, so we're going to take another piece of land from them, as long as we can find one that doesn't reduce liberty desire to below 50. It'd be nice to grab a town or a city, but it's unlikely, because those are the places which cost a lot. Looks like none of them cost less than 50, so we're going to take the cheapest one. This one, I think. Because of other factors, they'll still be loyal. We do need to be a little careful with decreasing their loyalty. How close are we to forming France now? We're 10 locations off. I guess we could just go around and take everything from it, all of our vassals, but it's going to be a while if we get there. As I said, it's probably just going to be when Aquitaine gets integrated in around 6 years, not that long, we'll be able to come France. Definitely been a long time coming though. Maybe I shouldn't have vassal swarmed up France, but it felt so good at the time. And isn't that what really matters? Another daughter has been born. At this point you'd think I'm making it up, but nope. Every child of our 4 children is a daughter. There's something wrong with the Karling family. Or maybe right, depending on your perspective. At the very least, once we fully absorb the HRE, we won't need to worry about female rulers anymore, as there won't be the block stopping female rulers from becoming the leaders of the HRE. Oh, what the hell? A strange fever has claimed the life of the Duke's beloved heir. I guess he's dead then. Goodbye, Ernest. Our successor should now go down the line of our brother to Francis here, but he also only has daughters. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's finish up this war then. We're going to return all of Catalonia's cause. We're also going to take the Andorra. We'll likely release them as a tiny province, perfect for being a free city. If Andorra is a city, I didn't check. Yeah, Andorra's a town, so they should be able to be a free city. Right, England. Are we done with you? I think we might be. We'll take Bristol, take all these places. Take London? Nah, London's way too expensive. We'll probably cut London off like this eventually, and then the control there will decrease, and then we'll take it at a later date, because London is very expensive to take due to its large size. We could fight a little bit more just to take Buckingham as well. There we go. Take all of that. Make sure to add it all to the HRE. We're going to release Wales now, and then we'll hopefully help them spread and retake their rightful lands. We also, of course, regained Cornwall. Nice to see them back. Be free Wales. Then we'll release the usual generic nations in the rest of the territory. There we go. Southern England, nice and balkanized, under glorious Dutch, French, whatever we'd consider ourselves, rule. Can we declare war on Bohemia? No. I think I'm just going to accept it's not going to happen for whatever reason, and we're going to head towards centralizing the HRE. Annoyingly, because I revoked those reforms on internal peace, we've lost the 1 point we need to progress to integrating the HRE. So we'll need to march back down this way. Must be very confusing for the lords of the Holy Roman Empire, the Emperor just changing his mind on these things over and over again. Now here's something I should have been doing. We can transfer subject from our vassals to our other vassals, and we can take some of the valuable provinces from Aquitaine and hand it out to the other smaller vassals that are near them. They really don't mind this. They only lose like 4 relationship for doing this per province, and it doesn't affect their liberty desire. So we're going to be able to reduce them all the way down to accepting integration by doing this. It does feel very silly, but it is what it is. They are a little disloyal at the moment, which will, fix itself with time. But I don't think we'll be able to integrate them, even though we're now below the limit. So we'll be able to integrate. Oh, there it happened anyway. We did it. Finally, we can become France. It just took a very long time, but it's done. France is back. The Duchy of France. Did you miss us? Probably not. Unfortunately, we didn't get upgraded to a kingdom despite becoming France, and we don't get a new flag. Come on, Paradox, give me a Karling flag. I want a Karling French flag. Now we can finally move our capital from accursed Paris, or at least we will be able to when we rack up the money. It's going to cost us 40,000 ducats to switch our capital. Let's turn down the maintaining of all these things that I forget to turn down because we're so rich I don't care. Honestly, we're probably not going to be France for very long. We're going to quickly head down and centralize the Holy Roman Empire once and for all. I want to see big HRE, and damn the consequences. Now that we have become France, we can go and grab those unique French advancements that are going to be further back in our advancement trees. We, of course, still have access to the Dutch ones. One of the things is they were no longer going to be eligible for Dutch events now that we've become France, which is too bad. It's one of the things I'm surprised Paradox didn't change between EU4 and EU5, because being ineligible for events because you changed to another country is always kind of strange, especially, for example, with Sweden. Once you become Scandinavia in EU4, you're no longer eligible for the Swedish events, and it was something that was often complained about. So I thought they might make changes to consider when you were a nation, but it seems not. Maybe they just wanted to stop you doing the old transferring between 20 different countries and getting all their unique events. But they've already kind of done that by restricting who you can form based on the tier. No matter though, it is what it is. It's just strange. All right, so I think we'll leave it here for this episode. I really wanted to fight the religious war, but the powers that be just won't let me. I'm just not allowed to fight wars, apparently. Is it because we don't have a CB? Surely it can't be that, right? No, it's definitely not that. Like, we have a CB on these people, but we still have the enforced imperial peace, and of course not part of the Catholic League. Let me check someone who isn't part of the Catholic League, so I can say that it's not just me being a stupid this whole time. But it might be. Maybe I've just been stupid. Who's not part of the Catholic League? Anybody? Now there's me being stupid. We could just check here. Thing is, we don't have claims on these guys. Is there some we do have a claim on? Or that we can create a claim? Well, who do we have claims on right now? But no, I definitely don't think it's us. Or me, at least. Unless it's because we have a truce. I feel like I'm going crazy. Maybe I was just crazy this whole time. Let's wait a year for May just to verify 100%. I'm scared we're about to reveal that I was stupid the whole time. But maybe it's better for me to be stupid than for the game to be broken. I think I've been revealed to not be stupid. The truce is over, we still can't declare war. Because our organization frowns on people declaring war on each other, because there is internal peace in the Empire, even though there really shouldn't be. But either way, I think we're just going to accept that that's how it is. It shouldn't take long for us to rack up the Imperial authority to centralize the HRE. We'll just need to march back down the Imperial peace route. It'll only take, what, 1, 2 laws we'll need to pass, and then we can pass the centralization and be done with it. The HRE could have been a good way to extend our mighty, glorious Karling realm, but it's decided to be a nuisance, so we'll simply devour them. But either way, thank you for watching, despite the trouble. I do hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Maybe next time will be the final one. We'll just devour the HRE. Maybe we'll probably liberate Constantinople. But I don't think the HRE can form Rome, not only because it's the same level of nation, being tier 4, but the HRE can't form anyone, I don't think. They get the modifier Rome Reborn that blocks you from forming other countries. So even if we wanted to go on and form Europe, for example, I don't think we'd be able to after forming the HRE. See you next time.